Amish, you can't do this wrong. And Connie and Sherry came in the very first class, and they were so intense and just, down here working as hard as they could. But they're starting to loosen up, and they've spent hours and hours and hours doing these classes. So that's how we have come around to where we are today. So for me, when Shirley and Purdy came in to do our gourd birdhouse painting, that was my full circle. That took me from beginning to end. And I'm just so glad to see everything that's continuing to go from here out. If you would like, I'll go through and tell you a little bit about each one of these. This is done by a vendor named Nathan Slayball. His prison name is Amish because he is Amish. He did this of his grandparents. He's also taken the Simplified Complex Design and this big piece right here. He turned in this week and said he's got about 80 hours in this piece here. So, and he's said it's just taken a ton of time and occupied all of his thoughts in doing that. These three pieces here are done by an offender named Omar Reyes. He said before he came to prison he didn't realize he had artistic ability. He is what I call a short timer. He's about 8 years left. With some time cuts and modifications, he may be out as soon as 4. He's just a habitual drug dealer. I told a couple people I talked to earlier today, he's a guy that if he moved in next door to me today, I would not worry about it at all. I think he's got it, he's rehabilitated himself. He's done a lot of work throughout the facility doing large mural work. We are in the process, I think, of going and photographing those large murals, and I'm talking like entire walls, 10, 12-foot walls that are maybe 35 foot long that he spent hours and hours doing. He has one of Iwo Jima that's amazing. So this is Omar Reyes. This is Archie Roberson. Super nice guy. He's been in every one of our classes. He did the gourds and he's done the simple lines complex designs. He did the color, the hand over there, and some of the other smaller squares. He's done those. He's a really good artist. He's what we call he's a prison tattooer. That's how he makes his money. He tattoos on the side, which is prohibited inside prison, but that's what he does. This is his self-portrait, and in the first show he put a self-portrait in, and the two critics that came in and told him to keep practicing self-portraits, so that's what he's done. He's taken that far, and he continually works on the self-portraits. This here is Lawrence Carter. In the first show, he had 3 or 4 pieces in. He did one of the Obamas. He did one of President Obama in a limousine, and this piece as well. I'm sure most of you have seen the self-portrait he did inside of his daughter's eye. And I told everybody, if you walked in the door right now, you'd look at him and go, "Hey, that's you down there." And it is. That's him. It's exactly what he looks like. He's a very fast artist. He did that in about an hour and a half. Very fast. And it's just a number 2 pencil. It's not even really sophisticated drawing pencils. And that's one thing you'll notice, the homemade frames and stuff, that they use what they can get a hold of. When I was talking about the swan earlier, I said it's amazing to me. I don't know how he got the effect that the swan is in focus, but the background seems to be blurred. And what did you say?
I said that he probably took like a duster, or we have tools, and you said
there aren't those tools in prison. I mean, the only thing he may have been able to use was a toothbrush, which was probably too coarse to get that effect. But yeah, somehow he created that, and so that's one technique that did amaze me in that. So keep in mind that as these guys are doing this artwork, they're limited to pretty much nothing. The pastels are pretty much nothing more than sidewalk chalk. I mean, they're not great quality of anything. They're allowed to spend up to $60 a month in arts and crafts supplies, and that's, I mean, paper and everything, which is not the greatest quality paper even at that. Moving around to these. Handkerchiefs are a huge commodity in prison. A lot of artwork gets done on these handkerchiefs. They buy them off commissary. I think they're about $3 a piece. But what they will do is they will commission someone who's good at doing portraits, and they'll say, here's a daughter of my granddaughter. Can you, and so they'll do portraits on them. They'll fold them up and they'll mail them out. It's really easy. Care-wise, you don't have to protect it, and you can simply just fold it up and send it out, and it stays for a long time. This offender did these 3 pieces. His name is Hippie, and he looks like a hippie. Here about 3 weeks ago, he shaved his head, his mustache, beard, everything, and he came up and he started talking to me, and he was asking me these questions. I'm sitting there looking at him like, and he said, you don't know who I am. I said, you look really familiar, but no. He said, it's Hippie. I said, no. I had no clue. And I'm sure most of you were able to pick out the couple in the rows and the stockings that he has down here and the shoes. I didn't catch this until about 5 minutes ago, but these green leaves down here are actually the couple's legs. So that was something else that I just found. So that's one interesting thing. The more you look at these, the more you find and keep seeing. He has wrote a letter up here, and what he's basically saying is that if any of his projects sell, he wants to donate them to Christmas Behind Bars, which is run by a volunteer group. Lemuel Vega was actually one time incarcerated himself. He served about 35 years. He's out now and comes back as a volunteer chaplain. He's actually an ordained minister now, and he runs this organization called Christmas Behind Bars. But what they do is buy Christmas presents for the kids of convicted offenders, so their kids will get something from them for Christmas. He's very good. He's relatively new, and I think most of you saw he did a double-sided. He's got this, and then the flowers on the back. So, the one thing you learn if you come in and start working with the offenders, nothing goes to waste. They use everything that they possibly can. So, you got a canvas, you might as well use both sides.